This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show. Your war room for insider news and draft analysis from deep within the confines of Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
The Dallas Cowboys select Michael Parsons. Woo!
And now, your hosts, Brian Broaddus, Kyle Yeomans, and David Hellman.
It's Tuesday, April 26th. You know what that means. It is draft week. A little more than 48 hours from now, the 22 NFL draft will start. A little bit after that, the Cowboys will, we think, make at least one addition to their roster on Thursday night. Guys, it's here. Brian Broaddus, Kyle Yeomans, Bobby Belt. As usual, it feels like it was just yesterday that we were talking about the Senior Bowl rosters, and here we are. Ready to get into the nitty-gritty. Unless anybody's got something super pressing to say, I know that this episode is going to fly by, so we're just going to hop right into it if it's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
We're all doing well. Thank you for asking, Dave.
I appreciate that, Brian.
Go Mavs. That's the pressing
Go
thing.
Mavs.
Yeah, go
hey,
Mavs.
Hopefully while we're broadcasting the draft on Thursday night, the Mavs will be closing out that series. Sorry for the 5 Utah Jazz / Cowboy fans that are out there. No,
They're out there.
No harm intended. But yeah, go Mavs. Anyway, we're going to do a 7-round live mock, guys. I'm excited about this. I'm excited to see where we can take it. So this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to be your draft Gandalf for the day. I've sort of put this whole thing together. I've got an idea of what's in front of us, but I'm going to leave it all up to you. I'm going to let y'all sort of guide us where we go, whether you want to trade up, trade back, stand and pick, all that type of thing. Y'all can sort of committee this thing, and we'll see where it goes.
Now, are we working together
Yes.
as we're the front office?
You are the Cowboys front office.
Okay.
I am just the guy running the draft,
Love
basically. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. Thursday night comes. I don't think the first 2 picks of this draft are going to be surprising. I think it's going to be Aiden Hutchinson and Trevon Walker in some order, if I had to guess. In this scenario, Aiden Hutchinson goes number 1 overall to the Jags. The Detroit Lions follow that up with Trevon Walker. Pick 3 is where it gets interesting for me. Sauce Gardner goes 3 overall to the Houston Texans. I don't think anybody would be crazy surprised by that.
Well, what's the chatter lately that's out there is maybe even as high as Stingley could go there and be the real surprise at 3?
I've heard them very tied to cornerback, so I think that's something we've got to pay attention to. Run on tackles begins right away with the New York Jets. Uncertainty surrounding Mekhi Becton. Ike Ekwonu from NC State goes 4 overall. Right after that, like we've been hammering for a couple weeks, the New York Giants take Evan Neal. Now, Brian, I want to pause briefly here because this 6th draft spot is something we've talked a lot about. Mm-hmm. If the Cowboys want to get uber aggressive, obviously a couple of guys that they've brought in on visits, Charles Cross, Drake London, are obviously still available. There's the Kayvon Thibodeau after effect. Just crunching the math on this, I think you can get up there for your 1 and your 2.
Go from 24 to 6?
Does that sound appealing to anybody in this room?
It does.
Yeah, it does. Again, you're looking at Carolina on the Cowboys draft board or their chart. That would be about 1,600 points at Carolina. You're currently sitting at 740 yourself. Your second-round pick is worth 340. Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
it's close. You might have to throw a couple extra.
Yeah, I think to me that would be a. I don't think Carolina would try and hold you up because I'm kind of getting a vibe in the middle of the board that those teams with multiple first-round picks are interested in moving out of there and moving. So maybe the price of poker, you could kind of convince Carolina, listen, everybody behind you is willing to get out of their spot. You could take this. This will be our best offer, and if you don't want to do it, then we'll find a way to go back and maybe get at one of these other spots. I think that Houston at 13 is a team you could talk about maybe moving. Minnesota at 12 was another one. Baltimore at 14. So there's teams right behind Carolina that are interested in moving if you could wait on your guy. But if you have somebody clearly in mind,
I think that is the question. Is like,
do you have somebody
Who are you
clearly in
doing it
mind?
for?
if just reading tea leaves, I think the Cowboys would be doing it for Charles
Cross.
That's what I
Probably.
think.
My
Yes.
thought process with it as well. The other thing to think about here too, Brian, and I completely agree with you, is the fact that the Panthers only have one first-round pick.
Yeah.
And there's smoke where they could be looking at a quarterback. I don't know if you've heard anything specifically about that too. About they like Kenny Pickett.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the only spots where he's actually favored to go over Malik Willis in the first round. So if they like Kenny Pickett enough, are they willing to trade out of that pick and go all the way back down to 24, or is it going to cost you more?
See, I think they're worried a little bit about the minefield that they're going to have to walk on that quarterback.
Yeah.
I mentioned all those teams with multiple picks. Is somebody going to, if they come all the way down to 24 and they're hunting that quarterback, and then I mentioned all those teams that are interested in moving that second first-round pick. Philadelphia might be a team. You just have to be like mindful that, hey, you could lose your quarterback. Somebody coming up the board and making a little bit of an aggressive play. Maybe Pittsburgh would be a team that I would think of that could be a team that. So yeah, you have to be able to evaluate where you can land. And I don't know if Carolina going from 6 to 24 is really the best thing for them.
Who are the threats for quarterbacks?
Pittsburgh,
but I think
Saints,
Pittsburgh. Everything
Saints.
we hear coming out of Pittsburgh is they really like Willis.
Yeah.
And so Willis, I don't think I think Washington people looking to go, oh, they could take a quarterback. I was hearing Washington is really high on Hamilton and really high on Drake London.
Yeah.
And that's where they're kind of narrowed at this point.
I kind of was thinking more about what you were talking about with the Saints, and then also with the Steelers. Though those were the two teams. I mean, I don't know if they can drop all the way there. I think if Carolina's looking at this, they have to say, okay, we'll drop to the middle of the board. We'll figure out. I mean, that might be a spot. I think the Saints aren't done moving myself. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the Saints are the team that maybe. And here's Carolina. You would trade within your division there. I'll tell you this though.
Trade within your division to potentially give a division.
Yeah, but I've also heard this though too about the general manager there, Scott Federer. Mm-hmm. He's in a mode right now where he might let this head coach hang himself. That he's willing, seriously, and I know that
the politics of
this is one of those things where I think that he's I think this GM's willing to move on. I think he's willing to move on from his coach, and with that being said, it might be okay. Yeah, go ahead and take this guy, or go ahead and make a move, and go ahead and jack it all up, and then when you get fired, I'll hire the guy I want to hire, and we'll go from there. That's the kind of crap that goes on in football offices all the time.
Man, that didn't take long to fall from grace, huh?
No, not at all. Not at all. But that's kind of where the general manager at Carolina really is.
Yeah. There are some definite downsides to the Cowboys model of ownership running the front office, but at least you avoid some of that type of stuff.
No.
I mean, it would bum me out so hard as a fan to just be like, yeah, my GM's going to stab the head coach in the back this weekend.
Well, the GM's just going to let him go. Yeah, you're like, okay, you want that guy? Sure, take that guy. And then when the guy doesn't work out, then boom, then they're not going to fire me. They're going to fire you for being an idiot.
All right, so with all of that said,
Carolina, I don't think moves.
Okay.
And I don't think Dallas gets there.
You don't think they move period, or you don't think they move back that far?
I don't think they move back that far.
Okay.
If they move, I see it being more toward like the 11, 12, 13 range.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, Carolina stays put. Charles Cross is the pick,
okay.
Which it's almost like they were
didn't
reading
go
our
quarterback.
minds. No, they did not.
Ooh.
They go Charles Cross. The New York Giants again at 7. Been linked heavily to Sauce Gardner, but he is gone. They opt for Kyle Hamilton at 7th overall.
Good pick.
Kayvon Thibodeau drops all the way to 8, and the Falcons stop that in a hurry, adding arguably the best pass rusher in the draft at 8 overall. Not a bad strategy, in my opinion. Seattle, with maybe the first true surprise of this draft, Trevor Penning at 9th overall. I'm not sure how to feel about that, but that's their problem.
What's your thought process there? Why did he go there?
I didn't do that.
He didn't take
Seattle
it.
Seahawks
It's a
pick.
simulator.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was a simulator. I thought you did this yourself. My bad.
I mean, I put a lot of work into this, but I did not manually make all 300 picks.
I thought at least for the first round you were going to do something.
absolutely.
No, he said it
my
was a
bad.
surprise. I surprised myself. I took Penning.
Trevor Penning goes 9, which I disagree with, but I don't run the Seahawks.
I wouldn't be stunned if Penning goes top 10, though.
really.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is Walker still on the board?
No,
No,
he
second
went
off.
to.
Okay. Well,
Sorry.
I was late to starting to highlight these guys. I'm like,
When
what
we
the hell
when we
am I
get
doing?
closer toward the Cowboys
Yeah,
range,
yeah, okay,
I'll
I-
give y'all a list.
Gotcha.
Of
I
available
gotcha.
names.
I was highlighting them off the board, and I'm like, okay, what did I miss here? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Derek Stingley goes 10 with the Jets' second pick. And then I think, Bobby, your thought process is totally right. I think Washington is really eyeing a receiver. In this case, they take Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State. He is the first receiver off the board. Minnesota, heavily linked to a cornerback with the top two gone. They take Trent McDuffie, 12th overall.
You know what? Let's say real quick. I think that really hurt them to lose Stingley. By the way, I think Minnesota. I think
Yeah.
Minnesota's locked on. They were locked on Stingley, so I think that hurts them a little bit.
As an LSU fan, it would be a bummer for me because I think him having Patrick Peterson in his locker room could only be a benefit for him.
Brian's been on that pretty much since day one about having that mentor in the locker room. That would be a phenomenal pairing.
I still think there's a not impossible chance that on Thursday night Kyler Gordon goes ahead of McDuffie, though.
No, I
agree with
A
you.
lot of people I talk to are really high on his upside.
Yep.
Like he's got the higher ceiling.
That's
to use the old
that's
draft
coming
phrase.
from this building. It's true.
Jermaine Johnson goes 13 with the Texans' second pick.
Man, he made some money in Mobile.
And then, man, I think if there's one pick in the first round of this draft that everybody has just decided is going to happen, it's this one, which is another Cowboys target, Jordan Davis going off the board to Baltimore at 14. Now, I want to have another conversation here.
I was going to say, I think we're looking trade up territory now.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we're in there now.
We are in the 14-15 range, and at least one big name on the 30 visit list is still available. A lot of people had Drake London pegged as a top 10 pick, but he's sitting here available with the Eagles on the clock at 15. Again, having done the math on this, you could conceivably get up there if you really want to for I don't think 88 is enough to do it, but
No, probably
maybe
not.
you could throw in 88 and a fourth.
I kind of
or-
felt you could just throw 56 and have it a done day.
Yeah,
You could do that too.
I would just go ahead and go 56.
56 and 24. Do you feel like doing that? Do you? Well, actually, I was about to say.
Do I feel like doing that, or do I think the Cowboys would feel like
let's
doing that?
let's answer that one because that's the important one. Do you think? I think the Cowboys love Drake London.
I
Yes.
agree with you on that.
They brought him here, which
Yeah.
is an indicator.
Yeah.
And I think if he got all the way down to 15, they'd get excited.
I think they start having conversations if this is what happens.
Yeah, I mean, but again, it's going to cost you likely your second. I think that, to be honest with you, I think you got to get to. I know you made the pick at 14, right? Was Baltimore?
Wait, I was going to say. I
Yeah,
mean,
14
the
might be
odds that
weird.
they do back-to-back trades with Philly seems
No, but I
Rich.
mean, no. I was just thinking because Philly's a team that's also hunting wide receivers a little
Yeah,
bit.
they may like Drake London
So,
themselves.
I mean, to me, does Philly move to 24 thinking that they have a chance to draft Drake London? I don't know if that drives. I don't know if that drives them down the board to go do that. Maybe they like one of these other receivers. Maybe they think Chris Olave is going to be there, something like that. But that they've got a second. They've got a second, first round pick though too.
They pick again at 18.
Yeah, does it? Do they get cute there? I think the
Howie Roseman loves getting cute. That's like his
Yeah.
draft day MO.
But in the division with a potential wide receiver who's also
Sure.
a potential target for your own team, I don't see
Hey, maybe
the
tit-
Eagles even having a conversation.
Tit for
here.
tat, the Cowboys helped the Eagles draft
yeah,
Devontae
but
Smith.
wasn't that
Completely
different
different
though?
position, though.
Because we're talking about it's somebody in the division was getting him,
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
just were picking who you were going to help.
So we think the Cowboys would be interested in doing this, but we also think that this particular scenario, the Eagles probably hang up the phone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think they play ball with you.
Yeah, and you got the Saints in that mix too, right there with those picks coming up. That
15, 16.
they're looking at wide receiver. Well, I just think if you're interested in Drake London,
You probably have to go higher.
I think you got to go to Baltimore. I think you got to go to 14.
Maybe Houston, just because that's a team with
Houston's
so
another.
many needs.
Houston's another one. I mean, I just think you have to get ahead of that Philadelphia, New Orleans kind of mix.
I think realistically, I mean, in this scenario, yeah, you got to go to Baltimore. You maybe got to go to the Texans. I think realistically, you may have to go to the Jets on Thursday night if you want
At
to try and
10?
get up. Yeah,
Wow.
because I think Washington really likes Drake London.
Okay, so if that's the case, we're going to probably lose Drake London. I mean, because I want to make this thing as clean as possible. If
But
you,
I think a flat second could do it for the Jets. Drop back to 24, a deep receiver draft, and you pick up 56. I think that could potentially do it for them.
see, this is where I was trying to trade. Remember the show where we tried to trade Amari Cooper
Yep.
Yeah.
to the Jets to move from
Yep.
24 to
Yep.
To 10.
to 10? this is when you needed that to work. That you said, okay, here's a player, here's a wide receiver. You took whoever you wanted it for, and here you got a guy that's one of the top receivers in the NFL. So here's your guy. Let us come up there, and now you have the opportunity to take the Drake Londons and guys like that, and not even have to worry about it.
So if this were to happen, the Cowboys would need to jump somewhere between 10 and 14. And I hear what you're saying, Bobby, but I think the more realistic scenario is they would need a little bit of luck on their side. Like,
yes,
Derek Stingley is still available.
Yeah. Yep.
Washington opts to pick him, and now Drake London's falling to 13 maybe. Something like that. I think 13 to me looks like a very plausible landing spot if you're trying to get up there.
See, this is something I brought up to Brian yesterday, is that like when CeeDee Lamb fell to where he did and everybody was surprised by it, that was just you were surprised because of how well everybody just kind of generally thought of CeeDee Lamb.
We were selling CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah,
I mean, I know on my board he was number one.
But you didn't hear. I mean, he was what 6 on the board here overall, and so I mean, but you didn't hear a lot of specific ties of the Raiders love CeeDee Lamb and this team. Whereas that's the difference here with Drake London. That's why I think it's harder to envision London sliding like that, is because I know Washington loves him. I've heard Atlanta loves him. Jets.
Do you think teams are worried that he did not run a 40-yard dash?
It's interesting. I thought that was good. I've heard from a couple guys who didn't run 40s this year, or heard about a couple guys who didn't run 40s this year in just various positions.
Dean didn't run.
It sounded like there's a lot more teams that are just not caring about that. That they think they see the play speed on tape and they're not. It sounds like teams are getting less worried about the 40 times.
It's kind of antiquated.
Little bit.
Unless
Kirby Joseph, the Illinois safety, he didn't run a 40 at all this year. And teams, I've heard there were a couple teams that told him, like, we don't care.
How much does like GPS tracking play into that? Because it's not only play speed on tape and seeing the guy go from point A to point B, it's seeing specific numbers that match up to that as well.
I think the other thing is like Kirby Joseph, had he run, or Drake London, I think they've got a good idea of what London's speed was. Yeah. And so it's like, he doesn't necessarily want to put it on there, but it's like, we don't need you to put it on there because we know what you are. You're not burner guy. You're not running a 4.4.
Yeah.
So we agree. Jumping up, Drake London is a plausible target. It would have to be in that range, but in this mock, we're not
more realistic going to one of the teams at 13 or 14 than going to 6.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
Real quickly, how much does playing, because we're talking about Drake London being so high on the Cowboys board, how high it being Chris Olave and Treylon Burks in that board as at the same time is going to affect them moving up? So if they're so high on Drake London, is it that much of a gap to Chris Olave and Burks to where it's not worth giving up their second-round pick to make that high of a jump?
Yeah, that's a conversation.
I don't think Burks and Olave are getting to them at this point.
See, that's what I agree with Bobby on this. The more I'm hearing things about that, again, my history is I worked in Green Bay and talking to folks there, they really love Burks.
Yeah.
And the reason they'll say is Devontae Adams was a 4.55 guy, 4.54 guy coming out of Fresno. Big bodied. Brian Gutekunst, the general manager up there, give me the big body guy. It doesn't matter if he's a 4.5 guy. So it seems like to me you're going to have to be ready for a couple of things. You're going to have to be ready for Green Bay at 22 if you want Burks, and I think you're going to have to be worried about an aggressive team again. I talk about the Zerline mock draft where somebody gets ahead of Dallas for Olave.
Yeah.
And that's you might be a situation where if you're looking at one of these wide receivers, you're going to be wiped out before they get to you.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona at 23, like that's the trade-up target that people look at. Arizona just lost Christian Kirk. Arizona could take a receiver.
They could.
I mean, they could take Olave, but no, I think Packers and Burks. I think they're going to lose Burks there.
The guys at Green Bay.
I heard the quarterback there loves him.
Yeah.
I tried my best to talk y'all into a trade up to make this happen. I was trying to be Brian Broaddus and say, if you want your receiver, go get him.
Yeah, no,
y'all have
not,
said no.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, no, but like I said, we're trying to find an area to go. I think you give us really good options because at 24, if we're going to sit here and let this thing ride, there's a good chance that we're going to lose London, Burks, and Olave all off our board.
Well, let's see how it plays out without a trade. Philly takes Drake London.
Okay.
How about that? That's the same thing that happened with Carolina. Right after them, Brian, you're a smart man. The New Orleans Saints take Chris Olave at 16. LA Chargers, a guy that it seems like people are thinking he's slipping a little bit, but in this simulation, George Karlaftis goes 17th overall to the LA Chargers.
There's a couple of guys, real quick, if I could say something about this.
Yep.
There's a couple of guys in this draft, and they're both those defensive ends. It seems like that people are starting to think that Hutchinson and then Karlaftis are who they are. Mm-hmm. Are you going to get any more out of these guys?
High floor, low ceiling.
Yeah.
I know you hate those analogies
because I don't understand them all that well. But
what's the identity, Brian?
But yeah, what is the identity of this team? But yeah, I think that to me, this is where there's a couple of those guys, and again, it's guys you're starting to talk to around the league. Is well, how good is this guy going to be? Is he maxed right now? Is this other guy maxed? And those are the two names that seem to be talking about. Are they maxed now?
But in a draft where some people only have 14 or 15 first-round grades,
exactly,
the closer you get to the 20s,
yep.
I think the better value that is.
Yep.
Philly, a little bit of a curveball. Daxton Hill goes in the top 20 to Philadelphia. New Orleans, under-the-radar player, in my opinion, Devontae Wyatt goes 19th. Pittsburgh sits tight, and they don't go with Malik Willis. They draft Kenny Pickett, who already has an office at their facility. Way to go, guys. Heartbreaking for me, Jamison Williams goes 21 to New England. And again, we don't have to get into a whole scenario, but if maybe a minor trade could be done, I wonder if you have to think about it here.
That one hurt.
Yeah.
That one hurt me because I was looking at that name.
You're starting to get excited.
He's one of my top receivers also, and he's kind of forgotten because he didn't play recently or had the injury. Man, if he would have fallen to 24, I think he would have been in that conversation.
Bobby Belt also proving to be a very smart man. With their 22nd overall pick, the Green Bay Packers finally break their receiver drought and draft Treylon Burks out of Arkansas.
Yeah.
2 spots ahead of Dallas. Arizona, I'm not going to call it a curveball, especially, they need help in their secondary. The Cardinals draft Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson, and Dallas is now on the clock. If you're not keeping track at home, I got you. Don't worry about it. Devin Lloyd is available, Tyler Linderbaum, Nakobe Dean, both of the guards, Zion Johnson and Kenyon Green, Arnold Ebiketie, if you feel some type of way about him, Quay Walker, who is starting to get a lot of buzz as a first-round pick, Travis Jones out of UConn, Jahan Dotson, the Penn State receiver, if you're hell-bent on taking a receiver, and Logan Hall, the versatile D lineman out of Houston. That is the best of what is available to you at 24. Fellas, what are we doing?
So you can't go wide receiver.
No.
You could trade out and maybe go wide receiver in the early second if you wanted to maybe trade back.
Can I just go a couple spots back and pick up something late? Because I feel like like the Micah Parsons situation, somebody I like is going to be there if I can go a couple spots back.
Can you tell me who you think people might be trading up for? That's what I mean, because Dave gave you the list of guys that were there.
Actually,
Malik Willis is still there.
Okay, Malik Willis. There's one of your quarterbacks is still there.
And Carolina didn't take a quarterback in the first, so maybe they could use their second to jump up.
But they don't have a second. Carolina doesn't have a single.
right.
Carolina's got 6 and then 135 or something.
If this is something you want to do, if you are hell-bent on bailing out, Kansas City's on the phone.
Not hell-bent.
They love Arnold Ebiketie. They need help at pass rush. They don't know what's going to happen with the future of their defensive front. They are willing to offer you pick 121 in the 4th round and a 6th round pick.
This is 29 or 30.
To jump up from 29 to 24. It's not a huge haul, but if you're convinced that somebody will be there, you can fall back if you want to.
What was that? 121 you said?
121.
Is that the back end of the third?
It's
actually in the middle of the board.
It's the early mid 4th.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 8 spots in front of the Cowboys' pre-existing 4th round pick.
You got 3 pre-draft visitors, Linderbaum, Dean as well on the board. Yeah, I'll go back 5 spots for a 4th.
Fellas, I at least need 2 out of 3, if not consensus. I would prefer.
I don't
consensus.
think I would do it. I think I would need a little bit more. Is there anybody else on the phone?
Nope. Just
That's
Kansas City.
Just Kansas City?
Just Kansas
Dang
City.
it. Come on.
Not enough for you, Brian. Brian, I think Green's making it to 29 in this scenario.
Do you really?
I do. In this scenario, I do.
Because of the knee?
I just think in the team's behind you, I just don't think anybody's taking Green. Because between you've got Buffalo, Tennessee, Tampa, Green Bay.
Tampa Bay can use offensive line, right?
But you have Zion. It's like the Slater or Parsons. We'll end up with somebody. We'll end up with Zion or Kenyon.
Kansas City wants y'all to crap or get off the pot, by the way.
Tags are touching there. Let's go. Let's go back.
Go back.
We'll go back.
All right.
Cowboys call it in. It's not a huge haul. It's 2 extra picks, 1 in the 4th round. The Cowboys fall out of 24. Kansas City gets their pass rusher, Arnold Ebiketie. Buffalo, not a huge surprise. Jahan Dotson goes in the 1st round. Now we're flying. Devin Lloyd goes to Tennessee. Love the fit of Tyler Linderbaum to Tampa Bay. They just lost their center in free agency. Green Bay, I think this is just a value pick. Nakobe Dean goes 28. So now the Cowboys are on the clock again.
Get your guard.
And our guards are there.
And your guards are both there.
Now you just got to determine which guard you want.
Which one do you want?
Green.
Yeah, give me green.
Give me green.
Green's higher on my board.
Give me the
there it
power.
is. I'm not going to try to talk y'all out of it. Kenyon Green is your next Dallas Cowboy at pick 29 and overall. Lock it in. Kansas City follows that up by making their 2nd pick for Quay Walker out of Georgia. Zion Johnson goes to the Cincinnati Bengals. And with the last pick of the 1st round, the Detroit Lions get their 5th-year option on Malik Willis. Good job for everyone. All right. I want y'all's reaction on that, but real quick, we'll take our first break, and we'll be right back.
This is Chad Hennings, former Cowboy and proud veteran of the United States Air Force. When my fellow military veterans choose VA, they receive life-changing benefits from the Department of Veterans Affairs. If you are a veteran, you may be eligible for healthcare, education, and training benefits, a home loan guarantee, housing assistance, and more. Choose VA for the benefits you've earned. Visit choose.va.gov to learn more. That's choose.va.gov.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, singing, and toasting Miller Lite in 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Hey, Cowboys fans, if you're thinking about attending a game this season, visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today. Stay at the team hotel, have dinner with a Cowboys legend, and experience AT&T Stadium's exclusive VIP Owners Club. Also, tour the Star, get autographs from your favorite players, and talk X's and O's with me, Mickey Spagnola. The official travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys will take care of all your travel needs. Visit cowboystravel.com.
If you have been thinking about weight loss surgery, My Bariatric Solutions has made it easier for you to schedule your initial consultation from the safety, comfort, and convenience of your own home. You'll meet one-on-one with the bariatric surgeon over a private and secure video call. You'll learn everything you need to know about the options available and which procedure is best for you. If you've been considering weight loss surgery and are ready to take the first step, call My Bariatric Solutions today at 844-326-6266. That's 844-326-6266, or go to mybariatricsolutions.com.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
Welcome back to the Draft Show. We just added Kenyon Green to our hypothetical roster. Probably not the haul you would have preferred, but you add 2 extra picks, one of which is in the 4th round, and you still get one of your primary targets. Y'all think you feel pretty good about that?
Yeah.
You know what I appreciate is the way that we talked it through, because I think that, I think Bobby did a really good job of just kind of making it like convincing us that, hey, listen, we got both our guys there, which is a pretty obvious thing to say, but and then you start to factor in, because I was having some thoughts about the whole thing with the knee with Kenyon Green, which is not it's one of those things. It's like, hey, it's not a now thing, but going forward. But you can say that about a lot of guys in this draft. But I do feel like we got the direction of who they have over the other with the tags. Green over Johnson on their board. I think we got that right, and the fact that we're able to kind of just wait out. Hey, picking up extra picks in this draft, especially in the middle of the draft, I think is a good thing here as well.
I also like the fact that it was kind of split initially, but we had somebody make the deciding factor. It's kind of what a war room is like to a certain extent. You have differing opinions. You have to have kind of both ends to look at. And then all of a sudden you come to that consensus. And luckily, like you said, we had a consensus on the player, made it easy whenever we made that decision to drop back and go get your guard. But it ultimately worked out in the favor, and I like the move that was made.
We're not going to come close to finishing this at the rate we're going, so I'm going to try to zip through the second round.
Go, Dave, go.
Just some highlights. Lewis Cine is the first pick of the second round. Logan Hall goes early. New York Giants with the risky pick, taking David Ojabo in the top 40. I don't know about that, guys. Our guy Jalen Petrie goes 38. Bernard Ryman, a Cowboys target, goes 39. Seahawks take Desmond Ridder. There's a little bit of a run on receivers here. So again, if we just want to have a brief conversation about trading up, Sky Moore and George Pickens go back to back here, 43 and 44.
Kind of here, they would not take if depending on. Now we need to figure out if they think Sky Moore is a slot only. Because I'm hearing whispers they're
We're
not
running out of time to figure stuff out.
No.
Man.
No. We do. I mean, we do. I mean, now we kind of feel like that he could play inside outside, but I was told that if don't look for this team to maybe Dotson, Sky Moore, guys that might consider slot only type players, that's not going to happen here.
You said George Pickens went 44 to the Browns. Can we like rewind that and maybe talk about that pick?
No,
what would that take?
So I want to look at that because again, so they got their offensive lineman. That leaves receiver as like the big work left to do. Maybe and again, just keep in mind the names don't really matter.
Sure.
It's just receivers are going off the board. It could be Sky Moore, it could be Christian Watson, but you lose George Pickens at 44.
Mm-hmm.
Does that scare you enough? You think back to last year. We were watching those cornerback names all down the board to their pick at 44, and it worked in their favor. Kelvin Joseph fell, but can you trust that to happen again? There's roughly a 120-point difference between pick 44 and pick 56, and keep in mind you have an extra fourth to work with now.
You said how much? 144?
It's about 120-point difference.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to offer 88 and call it a day.
88 to go up in the second?
Yep.
It's kind of an overpay.
Ooh,
I've got to get the guy, right?
Which guy?
I don't have time.
This is the Brian Broaddus I know and love.
What guy?
If you're talking about Pickens.
I don't need to go. I don't need to go up and get Pickens.
I would like to
I've
go
got
up and get
Jalen Tolbert.
Pickens.
I've got Christian Watson that are getting close. And even if
are you
John
okay,
Mechie's in too.
I would have Tolbert above Watson.
Okay, so you're saying that you just want to sit then, right?
Yeah, because I think receivers deep enough. Even if second round doesn't work out, I think even if we're getting close to third, I think you find a plug and play starter in the third.
There's an aspect of what you're saying that I completely agree with because John Mechie's there, David Bell's there, Jalen Tolbert, Alec Pierce, Christian Watson, Justin Ross, Calvin Austin. I mean, you go down and down the list. There are wide receivers that are going to be there at 88. However, I think George Pickens belongs in that upper echelon of those receivers.
Hell, we were talking about going up to 6 in the first round to get a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when we're talking about 6,
all of
we're
a sudden
talking
you're
about
like,
Cross.
let's go get a guy, and then all of a sudden you're scared.
No. We were talking about Cross as an option, and then we were talking about London going 10 spots in the first, and then even still, we're talking. What I'm talking about here is, I think that's a difference. I think you're talking about Drake
saying
London
that Pickens and all those guys are the same. You're thinking that Pickens and Tolbert and all
Pickens, Tolbert, Watson. I think
all
they're
the
all
same
the
guy.
same type of guy. I mean, different types of players, but similar player in terms of what they're going to give
value.
you. Value. Yeah, the value's the same to me.
It's a story from Bruce Feldman yesterday about George Pickens being a big red flag player. Do anything to scare you off?
Was it the red flag about the
maturity? Not a guy that you got to handhold, a guy that didn't impress in meetings. This
hasn't scared him before.
Fair, totally fair.
That's a good point.
So, what's the consensus here?
Me personally, I love Pickens. But I mean, I understand where he's coming from. He sees it. Okay, this is where the draft meetings work. Mm-hmm. I see Pickens higher than those other guys. So to me, it's worth it to go up. But if these two don't think that's the case, I'm going to get beat on this.
I'm kind of split in the middle because I'm with you. I love Pickens. 88 to go up. What was it? 10 spots, roughly 10 spots, 12 spots.
12, yeah.
How much of an overpay really is that? Because here's the other thing, though. I don't know.
It's a fifth round. You got 3 of them.
The more I'm talking about it, the more I think I side with Brian. Because if he's our guy, you come out of this draft with a starter at guard, and you come out of it with a starter at wide receiver that you can pair with CeeDee Lamb. Because Michael Gallup, who knows? But
he argues the other guys are plug and play, and we have to respect that.
It's such a deep draft at receiver. It's such a deep draft. Period.
Yeah.
Like to me, you're going to sacrifice that third. Okay. Well, now you're sacrificing a chance at who? Sam Williams.
Rusher, linebacker.
Who's another red flag guy?
Yeah, well, yeah. But I mean, like, look, let's see here. Edge, you're probably sacrificing the opportunity of Dominique Robinson, Cameron Thomas, Sam Williams, Alex Wright. Like, I mean, those are guys that you can talk about here in the third round that aren't going to be there in the fourth.
Sure.
So Cleveland wants you to make up your mind.
Let's sit. Okay. We'll sit it.
Pickens stays with the Browns. Kyler Gordon, value pick at 45. Saints get Matt Corral all the way down at 49. Not a bad deal there. Tyler Smith goes 51. Perion Winfrey 53 to the Packers. Chad Muma to New England would be, that would be
perfect.
Quintessential New England. Nick Bonito to the Cardinals, and now the Dallas Cowboys are back on the clock. Christian Harris is still there. Darian Kennard, Jamari Saley. I can never say his name.
Eliminate those offensive linemen.
Yeah, I'm just telling you who's
I know.
there.
Thank you.
So wait, did Pickens go?
He did.
He did.
Pickens
Yeah,
is
okay.
gone. Leo Chanel is still there. Jalen Tolbert still there. Christian Watson still there. Trey McBride.
Is Mechie still there?
Mechie is still there. Troy Anderson, Daniel Falele, DeMarvin Leal. Those are the big wigs. So two receivers. Mechie. If you want to draft Mechie at this point, he's still around.
He's the highest player on my board. I don't know about you guys. Remaining.
Sure, there's questions about his health.
What's at edge?
What is at edge? All the guys you just listed off from the previous round,
right.
But in terms of like second round,
is Boye Mafe still there?
No, Boye Mafe is long gone.
Drake
Jackson is long gone.
Enikbari?
I'm
just throwing it. I'm not necessarily saying I want to take Enikbari, right? But
Enikbari's still there.
To me, this is just for me. I don't know about y'all. To me, this comes down to Tolbert and Watson. That's for me.
If that's the case, I would take Tolbert. But I also like Mechie more than Tolbert.
I think this receivers coach, Robert Prince, who's in here, I think he's going to value crisp route running, flexibility, things like that. I think you get all that with Tolbert.
Yeah.
Brian, you're awfully quiet.
Decent size.
I got Watson higher.
All right.
That's me. If I look at my stack, he's my 53rd best player.
And nobody's going for Mechie here.
I'm not. I don't want to rehab two guys with knees.
That's fine.
I just don't.
I understand that.
I mean, Tolbert and Watson are really.
Mechie's 65.
Tolbert and Watson are the same value to me. I've got them like right there.
Is this a situation where your tags take you away from the obvious player of need? Like, how do y'all feel about Chanel or Christian Harris or Marcus
Hell,
Jones,
I would Petrie for me would make a.
He's already off the board.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, is Petrie on the board? Let's talk about that.
No, I'm sorry.
The more rounds of this you do, the harder it gets to get it all straight.
No, I understand. That's Christian Harris is still on the board, right?
Yep.
It's at 49 for me.
Yeah.
But my names would be Harris, Watson. Those would be the two guys. We just got to figure out which one of these receivers you like better. And my vote would be for Christian Watson from North Dakota State.
So yours is Watson. You're close on both with Tolbert.
I'm close
Watson.
on both. I like Watson's ability to stretch the field more. I like his speed. I think Tolbert's a cleaner route runner
too.
But Watson also, if you watch Watson's progression at North Dakota State, he's steadily improved at everything every year. And so there's a bit of a projection there that says hey, he might be able to reach a higher potential.
I'm willing to give in for Christian Watson because it's close on my board.
We can go Watson. Watson, the speed, the threat. Because CeeDee's not a burner. Michael Gallup's not necessarily a burner. Go ahead and get me a guy who can run 9 routes.
It takes CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard off of the return game because you can put Christian Watson as a returner back there as well. I like
send him deep. Just hope those hands get better.
I'm not going to sway y'all one way or the other, but
is there a name we forget?
No, not at all. But is there any thought to? Maybe we can find a guy we like. Michael Gallup was pick 81. Maybe there's value in the third round. Maybe you can find
it's a lot of my top receivers in the third round though are the guys that Brian was just referencing. They're not going to take smaller slots. They're not going to take Calvin Austin. I don't think they're going to take Kyle Phillips there. And so that's the problem is that I think a lot of those guys in that territory we're talking about slot only.
No, those
guys.
are all good players, but I say that when you start asking them questions about all these slots, they're like,
You're talking about taking a flyer on Justin Ross out of Clemson, or maybe an Alec Pierce at that point out of Cincinnati. Like, it's those types of guys. It's not going to be the Wan'Dale Robinsons or the Calvin Austins or the Khalil Shakirs, guys like that.
He didn't run it, but I watched Justin Ross in training run a 7.9 3-cone.
That's like offensive lineman time.
All right. Like I said, it's y'all's decision to make, and y'all have opted for Christian Watson out of North Dakota State.
Here we go.
That would be a hell of a story just because the Cowboys, they did draft Ben DiNucci. That's all the way back in the 7th
round.
They have not spent a pick this big on an FCS player in a long time, but lock it in. He is an immediate, or you hope at least, an immediate starter for this Cowboys receiver core. Darian Kennard goes right off the board right after that. Chanel and Christian Harris are right behind him. Bengals and Broncos wrap up the second round with Nick Cross and Damari Mathis, a couple of DBs. Will fly into the third round. I believe, forgive me if I'm losing track, I think our first tight end goes off the board. Trey McBride at 65. Jamari Sawyer at 67, New York. I like that pick a lot. Troy Anderson to Jacksonville. Channing Tindall to the Bears at 71. Brian's guy, Luke Fortner. John Schneider, your buddy, takes him up in Seattle.
Go. John actually drafting better now doing that.
Denver grabs your guy, Bobby Kingsley Enagbari at 75. Dylan Parham at 76. Are we starting to get nervous about anything right now? Again, like we're
good.
At this point, we're just like we're making picks.
Yeah,
that's kind of what happened last year.
Yep.
Is once you get into like the second, third round, you're like, all right, we got some picks. Let's just make them.
I think after you make this pick at 88, then you get on the phone and you start trying to deal one of those 2/4 that you have or one of the 4/5 that you have to try and get back up into the top like 125, maybe even top 100 if you really wanted to push. But up until 88, I don't know if you're really doing a whole lot.
Okay. All right. Brian Asamoah goes to the Chargers. Greg Dulcich to the Giants. Carson Strong to Atlanta. That's
Nevada
interesting.
quarterback.
The Nevada quarterback. Sean Ryan is the last pick before the Cowboys.
It's Bobby's guy right there.
I like Sean Ryan a lot.
I do too.
Nobody else seems to.
No, I'm right there with you, Bobby.
I think he's where he was picked. Is right where he needs to be.
So these are the names that jump out to me that are available to you at 88 overall. John Mechie's still there. That seems kind of redundant now. Luke Godeke, Abraham Lucas, Josh Paschal, the Kentucky edge,
defensive end,
Alec Pierce, Sam Williams, Cade Otton, the Washington tight end that we know they like.
They like him.
Also, Jelani Woods, the Virginia tight end.
They like him too.
That is the best of what is still hanging around.
The argument for me would
Zion
be
McCullum is still there. Dominique Robinson.
Who are the top edge guys?
Dominique Robinson, Sam Williams, Josh Paschal are all there. Those are the
Give me
Cameron Thomas.
Sam Williams out of those guys.
Cameron Thomas. You're good at asking me questions that I don't
San
have
Diego
in front of me.
Sorry.
Cameron Thomas is available.
Okay. I was curious if he's in the conversation.
Do you have him over Sam Williams?
They're right around here. Yeah, third round right here.
There with you.
The way my names would be right there would be Sam Williams, Paschal, and Otton. Those are kind of the guys I'd have in that range.
Would you be interested in, if we go edge here, would you be interested in looking at getting back into the end of the third for one of the tight ends? If Otton or Woods are sliding?
You can do that now.
Yeah.
Because you have the extra fourth.
I would be interested. You want to go ahead and hit this defensive
I'm good
end?
with Williams here.
Really quickly, because I think they would make the Williams pick, but I also think Abraham Lucas out of Washington State would be in this conversation.
Man,
so
he's a good player.
I'm going to play. I'm going to play devil's advocate.
I like that idea a lot.
I stacked the way I stacked him. Lucas was at 73. Williams was at 75. Paschal was at 77, and Otton at 78. They're all right there.
This is where I imagine Dan Quinn doing his best
Standing
Rod
up.
Marinelli and just being like, hey, you got your offensive help.
Yeah.
You got it. And we never thought Sam would fall this far, and here he is.
Yeah.
Give him to me.
I agree with that, but then that's the other thing about the tackle position. Do you really feel comfortable with Terrence Steele at right tackle? I think they do to a certain extent, but Tyron Smith isn't going to be around forever. Abraham Lucas isn't immediately ready to be a starter, but this is the perfect position of where you could.
They brought in a vet over the weekend. The guy's name escapes me. They visited with a veteran tackle over the weekend. Am I the only one that saw this news?
No, you're right about that.
I just wonder.
I don't know the name.
I can't think of the name either, but I just wonder if unless something.
Hold on one second. I'll tell you exactly who it is because I asked one of my I asked one of my pro personnel, Sam Tevy.
Thank you.
Sam Tevy.
Oh, yeah.
Sam Tevy is a professional slugger, third tackle, has experience at both right and left tackle, has even played guard too. Wouldn't be as productive now. The more he plays, the more prone he is to getting hurt at this point in his career. That was what one of my.
And I don't want to pitch that as like a cure-all, but what I was going to say is I wonder if in their minds they're like, unless we wind up with a Charles Cross or a really badass tackle, maybe we just sign this guy in a week and we'll
worry about it later.
We'll just keep kicking that tackle can down the road, which
that's scary.
At some point they got to do something, but doesn't mean it has to be this weekend.
I'm okay with Sam Williams being the pick. He's the top guy on my board too.
Lock it in, Sam Williams. I think if he's there for them at 88, I think they would be elated.
I'm really happy with this draft so far. Let's just say that.
So we fly through.
I hate Bobby.
All right, we're gonna.
What did I do? I got you your guy, Sam Williams. I picked you up an extra 4th in the first round.
Hey, can we use that 4th now to go get a tight end?
I think that. Do we want to do
He's
that?
mad I didn't let him go up and get Pickens.
No. Well, let's round this scenario
I am
out.
mad about that.
Let's round this scenario out before we go to break. Just finish off the third round. So we think maybe trying to get a tight end at the end of the third round is realistic.
Yeah, because what's their next pick? 129?
129 with the extra 4th that
They like Ferguson, the Wisconsin guy too, by the way.
Yeah.
So if we're not interested in adding that tight end, let's see if Ferguson's maybe there at 129. That's a guy they've kind of talked about.
They do like Otten and Woods more, though, right?
Yes, they do. I have a feeling they're about to be gone.
So let's just say they wait for the end of the third. I think you could, again, so you have 121 and 129 now. I think you could get up there for like one of those 4ths and shoot, that might be enough.
I was about to say.
Or maybe throw in a 5th because you got 4 of the damn things.
So you have 121 and 129?
Yeah.
So that's 52, 43. That's 95 points.
Who are we going up to?
I mean,
Rams at 104.
In my mind, I'm thinking around 104. Yeah,
okay. Because the Rams are always F them picks anyway.
Somewhere between 100 and 105. So Alec Pierce goes 91. Abraham Lucas goes to Baltimore.
Damn Baltimore.
Dang it.
Baltimore's my favorite.
They are my favorite too. Cincinnati's actually my favorite, but
Cameron Thomas goes to the Browns. Yeah, those are the big picks. So it's pick 104. We'll just use Bobby's
all
example.
our tight ends are there?
All of your tight ends are there.
Yeah, let's pull the trigger.
Yep.
Let's go up and get
I'm
it.
cool. You want to go up, Brian?
Are we using both 4ths here? Or are we just using 1 4th?
Well, didn't you just do the math for me,
I did.
Kyle?
I did the math with both 4ths. Are we okay doing that? Because you're still getting your 4th pick either way, like you had originally going
121
into it.
is worth 52 and 129 is worth 43. Pick
Yeah, so
195.
95 to go up for 88.
It's a little bit of an overpay, but not a huge
Or
one.
86.
if we want the player, we need to go.
All right, who do we want? Are we going after Woods, Otten? What are we thinking here?
I think you get Woods.
I might lean Otten.
I'm looking at my board, and I have Otten above Woods, honestly.
I like Jelani Woods.
But Woods
a
is
lot.
enticing.
There's my guy. It's Otten. It's been that way since day one.
Okay,
Let's do it. Kate Otten.
Pull the trigger. Kate Otten, come on down at pick 104.
We're good at this.
Brian
right?
getting all his guys, but still hates me because he didn't get Pickens.
I'd still buy you lunch if we could.
All right.
By the way, brisket sandwiches today.
Yes, the
at
brisket sandwiches,
at the station today. Yeah.
Ooh.
that brings the money rounds to a close, and the Cowboys have added.
Do we need another 2 hours through this show?
No, we're gonna zip through day 3 anyway, because who the hell knows what's gonna happen?
That might be some chaos there.
Kenyon Green,
Throwing things.
who was the damn second round pick? Christian Watson.
See, exactly. You've already forgotten his name.
Christian Watson, Sam Williams, and Cade Otten. I think if
We
that
could add Pickens, but Bobby was trying
Yeah,
to.
I know.
Bobby's a bully.
If those 4 come close,
Sorry,
to
I don't want any
happening-
more red flag players, Brian.
You know me and the questionable
That's
character
why
guys.
Brian loves Cincinnati. Cincinnati would have picked him.
Yes, absolutely.
Damn right.
Baltimore.
I had a
right.
Pickens at Cincinnati one time. Was a damn good player.
We're gonna take our
Carl.
second break.
That's a character problem.
Yeah, also had some issues.
And try to zip through the rest of this 7-round mock. We'll be right back.
Tax season is officially over, but Liberty Tax has services to offer you all year round. Aside from tax preparation, they also help with tax debt resolution. If you didn't file your taxes this year or haven't filed in a few years, we've got the solution to your tax problems. Liberty Tax offers guaranteed tax debt resolution services. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, call the professionals at Liberty Tax or visit them at libertytax.com/radio. That's libertytax.com/radio.
At Smoothie King, we are blending goodness to fuel your greatness. Every blend is crafted to help you achieve your health and fitness goals. Smoothie King uses only whole fruits and organic veggies. You'll never find sugary syrups or artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. And unlike some other smoothie places, there are 0 grams of added sugar in many of our blends. Smoothie King is proud to be the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys. Place your order in the app or online for pickup or delivery. Smoothie King, rule the day.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, sinking, and toasting Miller Lite in 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
If you have been thinking about weight loss surgery, My Bariatric Solutions has made it easier for you to schedule your initial consultation from the safety, comfort, and convenience of your own home. You'll meet one-on-one with the bariatric surgeon over a private and secure video call. You'll learn everything you need to know about the options available and which procedure is best for you. If you've been considering weight loss surgery and are ready to take the first step, call My Bariatric Solutions today at 844-326-6266. That's 844-326-6266, or go to mybariatricsolutions.com.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
Welcome back to the Draft Show presented by Miller Lite. We deserve a round of Miller Lites after adding all these badasses to the roster.
Darn right.
We're gonna wrap this up as quickly as we can. We can't spend 30 minutes on each of the day 3 rounds. There's just no way. But we're gonna take you through this. So the Cowboys don't pick in the 4th anymore because they traded up for their tight end. I think we all feel comfortable with that.
Sure. Yep.
They pick for the first time on day 3 at 155. Just looking in the 5th round, Michael Clemens, the A&M edge that I think they like.
They do.
He is the first guy taken in the 5th.
Oh.
Too bad. That's a pen throw. Justin Ross goes to the Giants. Giants making a lot of interesting picks in this draft. Donovan West, 150 to the Bears. Jalen Watson, the cornerback we just talked about the other day, goes to Atlanta. So with the Cowboys on the clock at 155, you do have some interesting options available. The irony is, and I don't feel bad about what we did, but the irony is there are a few really good tight ends still available, whether that's...
See, that's where I was thinking about, too. I mean, I love Otten, but I kind of know how they feel about... They love Otten and then our Virginia guy, but then Ferguson, the Wisconsin tight end.
Jake Ferguson is still there at 155.
Who are my safeties?
James Mitchell.
Woods is gone, right, though?
Jelani Woods is long gone. Okay. Yes, Percy Butler out of Louisiana.
Okay.
No
Verone McKinley.
No, Verone McKinley went. Yusuf Corker is still there at safety.
What a name!
You got some offensive linemen, Logan Bruss and Max Mitchell.
Who's on the interior defensive line?
I don't want to butcher his name, but the Iowa State guy.
Oh, okay.
Uwazurike?
I did all the phonetic spellings for you last night.
Yep.
I got to send those to you.
You're the man.
How about if I send those to you?
Uwazurike.
Thank you. Otito Ogbonia out of UCLA is still hanging around.
It's not bad.
Tyreek Smith out of Ohio State is still there. In terms of like Cowboy targets, I think it's...
Can I hear linebackers?
Guess. You can hear linebackers.
Mike Rose.
Micah McFadden.
Ooh, that means Mike Rose just went.
Both of our guys that we talked about, DeMarco Jackson and Brian Smith, are still there.
Wouldn't be against DeMarco Jackson in this spot. This is the 5th, right?
This is the 5th round.
I wouldn't be mad here.
Aaron Hansford, close friend of Babe Laufenberg, is there.
Decent number of running backs. Pretty much all of the ones you would expect. Zamir White from Georgia. My guy, actually, I believe Rashad White is still available.
Who's the top? Who are like the top names on the all section? Who are the top 3 or 4 names?
Brian Robinson Jr.,
running back.
Alabama, boy, is he a tough guy.
James Mitchell, Jake Ferguson. Like the tight ends are probably the best 2 players available.
See, okay, let's just real quick circle back on that. We made the move where we moved on from those 4th round guys.
Mm-hmm.
Should we have thought? I mean, I think we thought of that, but going into the draft, is this a realistic thing? Like, if you start talking about going to get Cade and guys like that, do you say, well, hell, we like Ferguson just as much. Yeah. Maybe all these tight ends will still be there.
I think it depends on how you feel about Dalton Schultz. Do you feel like you're going to go
cover our bases though?
A Dalton Schultz? You did.
Like what we needed covered, we got covered in the first 2 days, right?
Yeah.
And so anything else is going to be kind of icing,
and
or you're looking for depth.
I'm not drafting I'm not really fourth round. I think you still want guys to have a role as a rookie. Mm-hmm. Starting in the fifth, I'm just like, yeah, bring him on and see what he can do.
I don't mind going top player on the board. I don't mind going Brian Robinson. To be honest.
Also, I want to throw this out there. I forgot this caveat. I'm using a simulator from my dear friends at the Draft Network. They don't include kickers. So Cade York and Cameron Dicker and all those guys are not part of this. But
kickers are people too.
I know.
PFN.
Come on, the Draft Network.
Figure it out.
If y'all want to draft a kicker, just tell me, and I will waive my Gandalf staff and make it happen.
What do you want, Brian? Other than George Pickens.
See, I don't think they'll take a kicker.
I hate that
at all.
It's the most bummed out I've ever been by something you've said.
I think this is Bones Fossil. Just he's going to prove he's the smartest guy in the room, and I don't need to draft a kicker. I'll go find a guy, that kind of thing.
Where do you have Brian Robinson?
I got him in the fourth round.
So he's sitting here in the fifth.
You think they double up on a receiver?
They might, but can't we look at Velus?
Sure.
A little bit later.
Velus Jones is still there. I said that because the guy that y'all
out of Tennessee, by the way,
the guy y'all all really liked out of Texas Tech, Eric Izukama, is still he's still here. He's still here. Like there are good players still available. They're just not at the positions.
I wasn't crazy about Izukama, but I'd take him in the fifth probably. But I don't know. Is Brian Robinson, is he a blinking light for you, Brian?
I mean, when you watch him play, man, I mean It is a physical. He's a complete back.
Yep.
I mean, you watch him. I mean, he is tough. He blocks. He runs the ball well. He runs through tackles. You can throw him the ball. I mean, he was super impressive. Him and the Florida guy were two of my favorites.
I'm willing to go Brian Robinson here. I don't know about you guys.
I'm okay with it. You know what? The more you think
Damian
about
Pierce is who I was talking about.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I have their tags touching back and forth. That's RB7, RB8 for me. But Robinson's above him. And if you're looking at the running back situation, who knows about Zeke's future? Who knows about Tony Pollard's future? This is a developmental back.
Damian Pierce he's gone, by the way.
Big program guy.
Either way, give me Brian Robinson Jr.
We all good with that?
Brian's a little hesitant, I think.
I don't know, man. I mean,
we also pick again in like 20 picks, or not even.
So we're talking the fifth, right?
You've got 12 picks.
You think
that is the fun thing about this is you don't have to wait long to make.
Do you think we need to give Dan Quinn a pick here?
Well, I'm thinking like I really like JT Woods too, the safety from Baylor.
Yeah,
6'2", 195.
Which he's not in their database, by the way, Dave.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Well, that's a shame.
He's definitely available.
Yeah, he is.
Well, no, I'm just saying because I got Woods over Robinson, and I was just thinking about
by how much?
Tags literally 144, 145.
Wow.
And so that's out of 190
when
players.
When do we pick next after this?
167?
12 picks later.
You want to ride it and see if we can see who's available there?
Well, we know Woods will be available because again he's not in the database. We could cheat.
Leave
it to Bobby to break my simulation.
I think that I have no problem. I have no problem with Robinson. I mean, seriously, his tape, and you know what? There's not a lot of wear and tear on this guy.
Nope.
He was a 1-year starter at Alabama.
When you think of Bama running backs, this ain't that. Just in the sense that he hasn't been
he
rock
waited his time. I mean, he's super productive catching the ball. The blitz pickup stuff, you can watch him in an A&M game. He blitz pickups, and then it's like, okay, there's a scramble, and then he goes out in the flat, catches the ball, and gets a first down after he keeps his quarterback from getting hit.
I like Brian Robinson.
All right, that's the pick, 155, Brian Robinson. The tight ends go fast. Mitchell and Ferguson both go quickly. Izukama goes to the Chargers. Some offensive tackles, Max Mitchell and Braxton Jones. Philly drafts Jack Cohn. I don't know about that.
Ooh, that was rough.
No offense to him. Otito Ogbonia goes to Vegas. Philly drafts my guy Ty Davis Price. Nobody talks enough about him. Good running back.
Alabama. I mean, it's going to be the Florida game, right?
Yeah, set the LSU record.
Yeah.
Cowboys are back on the clock at 167.
You know, I really like that JT Woods guy
Yeah,
out of Baylor.
let's go JT
He's gonna
Woods.
make my life
You want to
easy
go
for him.
JT Woods here, Brian?
You know what? I have him in that spot unless you guys got somebody else.
JT Woods, let's go.
I mean, that guy's a turnover machine. I mean,
No, let's go.
machine.
Yeah, he is.
Let's do it.
Tyreek Smith is still there. Kalen Barnes is still there.
We're going JT Woods. You wanted us to go fast.
Okay,
Dave.
cool. JT Woods out of Baylor is your pick at
Come on,
167.
get it together, Hellman.
Dare Rosenthal goes. Tyreek Smith does finally go. Pierre Strong Jr., who a lot of people really love, goes to Green Bay, which I like. Andrew Stuber to the Bengals. Yusuf Corker to the Rams. Cowboys are back on the clock.
Is DeMarco Jackson still there? Can I stand on the table for him now?
DeMarco Jackson is still available.
I would have no
man.
problem with that. 6'1", 233
Go ahead.
pound linebacker.
I mean, okay. I know I said hurry up, but I just want to. I'm trying to be thorough.
That's fine.
here.
That's
But I
fine.
mean, I think everybody's at agree. Like, there's a point where these things. I mean, if you want to go do an overview of them,
Well,
fine. But I think everybody feels good about it.
Go ahead and run through the picks because we pick again in 2 selections. So.
Martin Emerson, the Mississippi State corner, still there.
I like him. He's a 6'2", 201.
Dane Belton, who y'all really liked from
He's
Iowa.
But we took another safety already
Sure.
with
Yeah.
Baylor, yeah.
My corner's there, who Brian now hates, the USC guy.
Valus Jones Jr. is there.
Talking about Isaac
Hold on
Taylor
him.
Stewart?
Yes.
Yeah.
Chris Paul, the Tulsa
Tulsa.
guard, is there. Cade Mays is still kicking around.
Maybe in the second.
Cade Mays and Paul can play tackle.
Okay. Did I already say Valus Jones Jr.? He's
Yes.
still there.
Oh,
all right.
Valus Jones is somebody that we pick again when? 2 picks?
2 picks at 178 and then again at 193. So you've got 3 in the next.
You want to go?
So we
you want
said
to go Jackson here?
DeMarco?
I'd love to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
DeMarco
absolutely-
Jackson.
I'd
They're
love
gonna add a linebacker somewhere.
There's another small school guy, too.
That's what they do.
I don't. App State isn't small school. To
They beat
me.
No, they
Michigan.
they beat teams. That's the thing about
They
Michigan
regularly
a long time ago.
they make bowls in the
Hey,
FBS
y'all,
all the time.
y'all tried so hard to draft Ronald Blair on this show, so you can go get DeMarco Jackson.
I feel like he turned out to be like
he did, no, but I mean
pretty
he was Appalachian. I'm just saying you tried to draft an Appalachian State guy for 2 months. back in the
DeMarco
day.
Jackson is the pick at 176. The Lions take Dane Belton out from under you. Well, we already drafted the safety, so we don't really care that much.
This is where that Martin Emerson out of Mississippi State comes in. The
178. Emerson is still there, as is Valus Jones.
I like him.
My
too.
guy Rashard White just tumbled to the end of the 5th. That's devastating.
but not surprising.
Do y'all want more names? Chris Paul is again still there. Cade Mays, Alec Lindstrom, the Boston College
Yeah,
center.
I think you're okay there.
I like Valus Jones.
I have Emerson much.
I don't mind a
higher.
double dip guy, somebody who can do stuff for Bones on special teams too.
Mm-hmm.
So
we talked about that with Watson, though, right?
Yep.
That he's going to be.
Valus, I think, is a much better returner.
Valus is you're stealing somebody.
Valus has all pro potential. I think as a return guy.
I think so.
Again,
Too.
I just want to highlight for the listeners that y'all are saying F them kickers. F them. Just no kickers.
I just
Well,
okay,
we're also
I
saying what we
say-
think they'll do.
I
also,
know.
Yeah, I mean,
Let me bust your chops, Kyle. Come on.
no, I mean, I appreciate my chops being busted. I just feel like that.
Clip that out, Beam.
Bones is he's smarter than everybody in the room guy.
Yeah.
You know, what would seem logical would be, oh well, let's go get one of these legitimate kickers. You know,
I mean, I would draft a kicker in the 5th. I've been saying it all year.
Well, pick it.
No. Because what I was going to say is, if they don't, and I think you make a good point that I think the special teams coach thinks the way that you think he does.
So we're using a special teams pick in the 5th round on Velus Jones Jr. and not on a kicker.
I mean, I don't want to railroad anybody, but Valus Jones is where I would like here.
Yeah,
you have him higher than Emerson because I thought you said you liked Emerson.
Emerson's
it's me. I like it. I have Emerson.
Emerson. I mean, consider the Kelvin Joseph situation.
Yeah.
I mean,
depth at corner
it's not
never
a
hurts.
1-for-1, but yeah, depth doesn't hurt.
I think you could get Jones at 193.
Do I want Jones at 193? I was thinking 193. I had in the back of my head that might be my dart to throw at Kyron Johnson.
Oh, okay. That's kind of interesting.
Because I don't think he's going undrafted.
No.
And that's your last pick, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So, I mean, that's kind of what I had in the back of my head. I was thinking you could go Jones Johnson. But, I mean, if you want to go Emerson Johnson, that's fine, too. You've got your receiver. You've got Christian Watson.
I know, but I'm in love with, like, Gallup and Said in the same draft worked out so beautifully, and I would love
You
to
just
do that
love
again.
receivers in
Yes.
drafts every time.
I do. It's
fine.
It's fair to point out that they still have Simi Fehoko. They don't need a receiver. Not anymore. Not having added one. With
Brian,
pick
would you rather go
56.
Emerson or Jones?
I'm looking at my board right now. I know we don't have a lot of time.
That's okay.
We're already over. It's fine.
Yeah. I think I would go. I think I'm going to go. Darn it. I'm trying to kind of get where those tags are. I'm getting down to it. I'm sorry. I think I would go Jones.
I love it.
Okay.
I mean,
That's fine.
Jones.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I said I wasn't going to sway it, but I'm happy with
Kinda
that.
sounds like you swayed
I am
it.
happy with that decision making process. And you know what? If I did, so the hell what? It's the 5th round.
You are draft Gandalf.
Rashad White finally goes off the board. I don't get why I love him so much more than everybody else. We go to the 6th round. Zachary Carter, Jerome Ford,
God, I
Tyler
really
Beatty goes to Buffalo. Tyquan Thornton goes to San Francisco.
I really went with the room on that one because I have Emerson at 164 and Jones at 167.
Emerson does finally
At least
go.
they're close.
Yeah.
I don't have.
not
I left
very
it up
close
to you.
anymore.
I know. I went with the room.
So
Stupid me.
when you pick at 193, who did you say you were? Oh, Kyron.
I just was interested in Kyron Johnson potentially here, but I mean, who's there?
Kyron Johnson's still there. Emerson is gone.
Dang it.
Chris Paul. Oh no, I'm sorry. Chris Paul is gone. Cade Mays is still there. Alec Lindstrom is still there. Charleston.
Alec Lindstrom's still there?
Yeah. Charleston Rambo still there.
Former Oklahoma roommate with CeeDee Lamb. They were roomed together.
Did I already say Smoke Monday? Best name in the draft.
We
You
got
just
our,
want
we
to
got
pick
our,
him for the name.
No, he went to Auburn. I'm not doing
We're
that.
gonna smell some or sell some jerseys.
Haskell Garrett.
Is Thomas Booker there?
You know what? At this point, oh no, I was about to say at this point I have no idea, but he is. He is still there. Thomas Booker out of Stanford sitting there.
defensive tackle, right?
Yep. Might be able to play some 4-eye.
Connor Hayward, the Michigan State tight end. Our buddy Grant Calcaterra from SMU.
You know what?
around.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. You don't know
Bobby's guy, Isaac Taylor Stewart, the USC.
No, I know.
corner.
I knew he was going to be there because no one else likes him.
Do we take a stab at a quarterback at some point for a backup?
I'll tell you what, it's not a terrible idea about Bobby's USC guy because that guy does have length. You're looking at for traits right now, traits that can run. So I wouldn't be opposed to that.
4'2", 6 foot,
I
1 plus.
I wouldn't be opposed to that right now at all.
Okay.
To be honest with that.
What'd you
Just to
what did Hellman call him? Karate Jazz.
Oh yeah, the Karate Jazz guy. Oh, I can't wait. Just to answer your question, Kyle. I mean, really at this point, and I'm stealing it right out of Dane's draft guide. All of the QBs with draftable grades have gone by this point. Cole Kelly out of Southeastern Louisiana and Brock Purdy are still there.
You remember
maybe if you don't want to fight for him in free agency.
Yeah, Kellen Moore went to the Iowa
Ames.
State workout.
He did.
He did. So Purdy, you might want to keep an eye on that one.
With Will Greer and Cooper Rush here, it doesn't feel very important to me.
Yeah.
Sure.
Although they are both in contract years.
There were a couple
about
guys
Will
there though at Iowa State too, though, because Kolar's there and so is Brees Hall.
I was going to say, I bet that was just about as much about Kohler as
They've got a
anything.
couple.
I have no problem with Taylor Stewart. I really don't.
I'm cool with it.
Big long cornerback.
Yeah, I mean, I've got him as out of 190. I've got him at 177 on my board, so I'm okay with that in the six.
Lock it in. That is your final pick of this mock. I feel pretty good about it, guys.
I thought. What's the overview? You got the overview real quick?
I've got it if you want it.
I actually do because I got so wrapped up in reading stuff off that I didn't write it down.
So at 24, we traded back with Kansas City. We acquired 121 and an extra sixth, which we didn't pick, by the way. So we might actually have another pick, but we just don't know about it.
Yeah, it wasn't numbered. I mean, if you want to throw another name
Kyron
in there,
Johnson.
we can. All right, there we go.
Yeah,
Or
Kyron Johnson.
no, give them their kicker because the fans will want their kicker.
Brandon
Give them a
Smith
kicker,
from
Brian.
Penn State is still there. If we want to throw him in the mix.
Which kicker do you like better, Dicker or York?
Oh, we're drafting Cade York.
York.
Cade
Sounds
York
good to me.
here.
Let's give him
Gosh,
Cade York.
There's our guy.
In the rain,
We know
the
what Bones will
swamp.
do, but we're doing that for the fans of the draft. So give them
Just
Cade
because
York.
they won't draft a kicker doesn't mean we can't.
This is
draft
our
a kicker.
war room.
Cade
damn
York.
it.
Boom. Got it.
Throw him in there. Thanks, Kansas City.
We went from 24 down to 29. We picked Kenyon Green, first-round pick from out of Texas A&M. In the second at 56, we decided to go Christian Watson, wide receiver out of North Dakota State. Third round at pick number 88, Sam Williams, edge rusher from Ole Miss. No pick in the fourth round because we traded back up into the third round. Pick number 104, trading with the Rams. We drafted tight end Cade Otton out of Washington. Then you go further down to the 5th round after giving up both of our 4th-round picks, one of which we acquired from Kansas City. At 155, we picked Brian Robinson Jr., the running back from Alabama. Pick 167 in the 5th, J.T. Woods, safety out of Baylor. 176, DeMarco Jackson, linebacker out of Appalachian State. 178, Velus Jones Jr., wide receiver and special teams extraordinaire out of Tennessee. And then in the 6th round, we took 193, Isaac Taylor Stewart, corner out of USC for his traits, and Cade York, undisclosed pick in the 6th round, kicker from LSU.
A pick that will not be numbered.
But we really don't know what it is.
Because we made this whole thing up.
But we did not pick George Pickens.
No, we did not.
So Brian's unhappy.
No, what, the more...
if this is the class...
No, listen to those names.
Listen to those names. Class,
I will say this real quick. I know we got to get going. But the fact that you guys talked me into the trade back and you still got the guard, but then it allowed us to get the picks with the 4th-round picks to get the tight end, I'm totally on board with what we've done there.
Love that idea. It can get kind of ambitious. Like people are like, oh, well, I did this and I fell back and I jumped forward. But like those are both pretty manageable trades. Like, we're not talking about
you didn't make big
jumps.
swings at those.
No,
that was all. I mean, we did talk about.
We didn't have to.
6
give up
is unrealistic.
Anything.
To try and get above, to go get Drake London, I think is a kind of a dream.
Yep.
But it's there. The other ones I think were very manageable trades with the players that we went for. Guys that we know that they like.
We were conservative where we needed to be, and we were aggressive where we needed to be.
No Madden trades. Yeah. It was pretty realistic.
We only went 11 minutes over, and we got through all 7 rounds. More than anything, I'm proud of that. Certainly, none of this is going to come close to coming true now that we've laid it out so beautifully. But hopefully you have a feeling of what to expect in all of the important rounds, anyway, of this weekend's 2022 NFL Draft. The next time you hear us in your ears, we will be doing it for real.
Let's go.
Thursday night, guys. We're we're simulcasting 105.3 The Fan,
right.
DallasCowboys.com. The 4 of us will be joined by Sean Sharif.
Dallas Cowboys Radio Network as
Dallas
well.
Cowboys Radio Network.
Yeah.
We're going to have you covered from wall to wall, every single pick, starting on Thursday night.
We'll find a way to get rid of Bobby so we don't have these discussions.
So we can draft George Pickens. We can't wait. We will see y'all then. Thanks so much for listening.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?